How's it going, guys? I've recently had a bit of a break from making videos since I moved state, and I'm also just back from a break from Neverwinter due to the horrific drop rates in Hardcore Voss, if any of you guys recollect me screaming about it on stream. In honor of all that screaming, I'll be doing a giveaway soon for a Fiendish Charmer pack with Succubus or the Incubus in it, and also a Spine Devil for second place, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see what's going on with that. But today I'm back just to briefly talk about my thoughts on the upcoming Mod 22 as a tank player. On console, we get Mod 22 in early February, and it's only in the next couple of days for PC, or it might even be today when this comes out. So there's a few things to talk about with what we know at the minute. These main things are going to be the dreaded enchant changes, the new gear and items, and the trial, of which we've been anticipating since they didn't give us any new content in Mod 21. Demo doesn't count at all in any way. If you enjoy listening to me ramble in this video, do me a massive favor and hit the thumbs up, or type out a comment about what you think of the upcoming mod that I can read next time I'm in the tub. So let's jump into enchantment changes first, being the thing that everyone's talking about right now. To put it short and sweet, I don't mind these changes at all. And I really think people are overreacting to it, saying it's making all their work worthless, or whatever people think. It's going to make your character pretty much the same when you trade in the enchants to the new versions. It's just that it's going to take some work to upgrade them to the max versions, which would happen anyway even if they upped the max level for the enchantments, like if they took them all to mythic or something. Of course, this is going to take a lot of AD as well, but we can really just take our time with this, and if there isn't something to slowly upgrade in the game, it gets stale anyway. So in my opinion, this is a positive change. Also, you get to hand in all those bound enchants we traded in for mods ago. The weapon and armor enchants are changing to the new combat enchant, which means you can only have either an offense or defensive one. And this isn't a bad change either, other than them removing debuff enchants for supports, but it's not a huge deal really. For DPS characters, the defense enchants weren't great anymore either, after the Bark Shield nerf and the Shadowclad fix, so they don't miss out on much. The only people getting shafted on this change is the healers, since it seems the devs just forgot to make any combat enchants for them, so that kind of sucks. But for tanks, we have a couple of good options, for which I'll absolutely be using the one that debuffs the boss's damage. The Soulforge type enchant will be good to save you money on scrolls, and the negation type enchant I will not be gambling on it giving me good uptime on the stats, even though I know a lot of people are going to be going for that one. It's just not my kind of thing. The split to bonus and utility enchants is also pretty cool, giving us a bit more options with the recharge speed, movement speed, AP gain, these other stats that you can get from the enchants, which I think is great. Basically, just invoke for those free cold wards and take them from chests in dungeons and you'll be maxed in no time. The only concern I really have with this major rework is that they've now reworked something that wasn't in the most need of a rework. That award would go to the Insignia bonuses, which have only been nerfed since Mod 16, and are pretty pathetic really, and desperately need a rework. Most people walk around with 3 Gladiators Guiles because those bonuses do essentially nothing for anyone. Boons are also approaching a point where the points you get from the new advertised campaign are going to go into stats that do nothing for your character, let's be honest. And really, boon points aren't a choice anymore at all between what benefits you the most. It's more just choose everything, and then when you're done, you choose whatever basic opposite stats that are left. It really doesn't make a difference. For example, DPS characters, you already have every offense stat in there. You just put it into defense, awareness, and then HP, I don't know, whatever else. It's not helping you at all. There's also an honorable mention here to mythic collars that need their cost changed drastically, or to make all legendary shards bound to account. Remember that thing I said earlier about having things to slowly improve your character is good? I could make a rant video about this later, but I'll move on for now. Onto the new gear and items, and all I can say is, when do we get a ribcage for tanks? No, but seriously, I want 25% free stats on a piece of armor with near 100% uptime. That 7500 non% awareness on my chest piece just ain't cutting it, and I feel like I'm getting ripped off a bit there. But one thing I can say that I like about the next mod is the amount of stuff we're getting upgrades for, which I always think is a good thing. It seems like we're pretty much getting an upgrade for every item. Mythic rings, legendary shirt and pants, new Mastercraft weapons, I hope, since they got pushed from the last mod. Legendary armor, I believe. I apologize for not having preview up to show all this, but there's plenty of videos on that already, and stuff changes, so I'll worry about it when I get it all. I hope there's maybe a hunt system or something to do to get hold of all this stuff. Even if it's RNG based, that always ends badly for me. Hunt systems and basically just other content in the game is always healthy for the game and the population, as long as there's both queued content plus outside content. It makes people less annoyed that there's not something for them to do, less toxicity on the forums and all that. The only thing they seem to not have next mod is a replacement for the hardcore boss rings, which means if you want the best rings in the game, you're gonna have to keep grinding for probably hundreds more runs than you've already done. Luckily, I just got my Bandit the other day. I honestly do think though, the only reason they have all this stuff is because they pushed back things from the last mod since there was, literally no content in it. I just hope they aren't going all out dropping everything in this next mod and then having nothing to follow up with in mod 23 again, because honestly, the game needs to be more consistent with release schedules for actual content. Which brings me to the trial. Oh, we have been waiting for a good trial since Tom, and that's not to talk badly about Zariel, but the Zariel trial release was pretty horrendous in terms of pretty much everything, if I'm being honest. And I really enjoyed Zariel. It was very, very fun. It was a great fight, and I loved Zariel's voice lines. Only the worthy will triumph! It was also a great trial for tanks. Zariel beat the absolute shit out of me when it first launched. She even pushed me off the edge for some reason multiple times, which was as funny as it was frustrating. It actually required 2 tanks, which was brilliant, barring anyone that used Horn of Valhalla or any glitch stuff to melt the boss or anything later on. All that would have been really nice if there was 1, loot to actually farm for from the dungeon, and 2, it wasn't trivialized day 1 by the devs not fixing broken items in the game. And this came after we had openly spoke to the dev team about broken items that eventually made Tom trivialized, if anyone remembers the Darkened Journal. Zariel launched at the height of the chicken meta in Neverwinter, and the token of chromatic storm stacking. Did anyone really find opening your bag and swapping out companion damage bells to make your chicken melt the boss enjoyable? My personal opinion here, but the point of trials is to be a challenge. It's called Zariel's Challenge after all. Having loot to reward that challenge is a nice addition. Having neither isn't good content. Now I'm really hoping that isn't the way it's going to go with mod 22, and I can say I'm very happy we get to see Valindra again after she's been skulking around the game ever since she was defeated even before I started playing the game. I do believe we're going into this mod with less obviously broken items in the game at least, but it's already worrying that the first trial was completed in 3 attempts, and people are already talking about playing it with a solo tank solo heals. This is where the tank player in me comes out again. I honestly don't want to play another trial where, because mechanics don't force 2 tanks, it means I have to work twice as hard while some 8th place DPS gets to just mash buttons, ignoring mechanics, and taking the other tank's spot. It's really not fun when the game doesn't respect support roles and mechanics enough to not swap one of us out for literally anyone that answers the call in zone chat. But really, when it comes down to it, if there's amazing loot, maybe I can look the other way for another mod. So that's it for today. That's my opinions on the next mod as a tank player, even if it wasn't tank focused too much. It's a pretty solid mix by the looks of it, and really I am coming back to play it because we will always try it out if there's content to play, and we always have big hopes for the new stuff to be fun. Otherwise, I do think there's some good stuff to look forward to, and I'm hoping they're also keeping a whole bunch of stuff under wraps, so fingers crossed for that. As always, if you watched this far, please consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing, and keep an eye out for my next videos because there will be more coming up. Thanks for watching.